Algoritmers! Happy Monday. Boy, do we have a show for you today. You know what? In the court of law, facts matter. Okay? Evidence is presented, witnesses are sworn in, and verdicts are handed down by someone like a judge or a jury. In this case, the judge would be me, and you would be the jury. But here's the truth. In the court of public opinion, none of that matters. You don't need a judge when you have Twitter. And you don't need evidence when you have headlines. And guilt is decided not by a jury of your peers, but by the court of likes, shares, and viral clips. Well, guess what? Tonight, we step into the gray area where fame is a double-edged sword, where your reputation can be sentenced before you can even step foot in a courtroom, and where your public perception isn't just a side effect of the scandal, it's the scandal. So the question I want to ask everyone, are we living in a world where justice is determined by facts, or is it determined by how we feel about how the facts are presented? Does the truth even matter when the narrative is much more juicier? Well, welcome to Celebrity Court of Public Opinion, where fame is on trial, the law is debated, and guess what? You, the viewer, hold the power to decide the ultimate verdict. So let's open up the docket. Tonight, we're going to let you, after each story, decide if they are guilty or not guilty for the crime that they allegedly committed. All right, so before we open up the docket, let's introduce the legal beagles that'll be joining us tonight. First up, that fiery attorney that we all love or have grown to love, Shatan Turner. Welcome back to Celebrity Court. You're on mute.
Oh. You said they got to grow to love me like fungus. I am lovable from the first taste.
All right, joining her, all the shit they didn't teach me in law school, author Jason Weiss. Jason Weiss, welcome back to Celebrity Court.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. And I've learned from you and Attorney Turner to make sure that we loved her at first sight.
And last but not least, definitely not last and definitely not least, humorous in law, Sean Carter. Sean Carter, welcome back to Celebrity Court. We missed you on Friday.
I missed you guys too. It was a rough weekend, particularly for Team Light Skin. So hopefully you guys have a better week this week. You know, get some promotions and job callbacks. It was a rough day for you yesterday, though.
I think Team Light Skin, we're gonna be all right, especially after that Super Bowl performance. I think we're gonna be just fine. All right, everybody, welcome our legal experts, our legal beagles. Court is now in session. All right, first up, picture this: a high-profile courtroom packed with cameras, reporters scribbling notes, and the tension thick enough to cut it with a knife. Suddenly, ASAP Rocky, the man on trial for felony assault, erupts in an emotional outburst. Interrupting his former ASAP mob affiliate, ASAP 12E, mid-testimony. Was the raw emotion of an innocent man pushed to his breaking point, or an uncontrollable rage of someone hiding the truth? In the court of law, emotions are just reactions, but here, in the court of public opinion, they can be the evidence that sways an entire nation. So let's talk about this, Attorney Turner. Could ASAP Rocky's courtroom outburst be used as evidence to support the prosecution's claim of his violent past or his violent patterns? Let's take a look.
What's that term from?
Objection.
Your Honor, I'm having a career.
Do you know what that means?
No, I just know it's all. It's just,
Do you know what the letters mean?
I don't know. I could have my own way, but I'm not.
You don't know for sure?
No.
Your Honor,
Speculation.
There was a.
Want you to go to sidebar?
Yeah, we need to go to sidebar. Did you hear the defendant, when I asked the question, loudly say, "Don't answer it"?
I heard something. I'm not too sure what I heard. I was listening to you.
Did you hear somebody say, "Don't answer it"?
I didn't hear what was verbally said. I heard something.
Isn't it true that AWGE, A-W-G-E, is a brand that is connected with the defendant?
Yes.
So a moment ago, when I asked you what AWGE was, and you said I have no idea, Why did you say that when you're now saying, yes, it's a brand connected with the faith?
Objection, this states testimony, Your Honor. That's what it means.
Yeah, that was the question. Yeah. Sustain.
Did you a moment ago testify that you did not know what OG was when I asked you?
You asked me what did the acronym mean.
No, I never used the word
You
OG.
said, well, you asked me what.
Don't start debating with
What
each other.
does, I asked you, what does OG mean? And you said, I have no idea.
All right, let's go to the legal beagles here. Okay, so what's the acronym? It's A.
WG.
You're on mute, Jason.
I know
AW.
on purpose, so I could be, being like him yelling.
AW.
Yeah.
What's the acronym?
AWG.
AWGE.
Okay, now let me ask this question. Why was it so important for ASAP Rocky to explode in the courtroom to make sure that ASAP 12 didn't describe what this was?
Because you remember movie Fight Club? The first rule of Fight Club is you never talk about Fight Club. That's the same thing with the rule for AWGE. There's this proprietary thing that the first rule is that you don't tell anybody what it means. And so the reason why ASAP Rocky was so enraged is because it's this protected secret that governs his creative process and the group that he performs with. And so he should have left it to his lawyers, but that's why they had the sidebar, because they were arguing relevance, that the only reason to reveal that in the court was to kind of shame them and to distract from the reason they were actually there.
Okay, so Attorney Carter, what are your thoughts?
Well, and let's be clear, because the question, it comes down to two things. Prosecution says, hey, AWGE might mean something, all right? Like always with guns everywhere. And that would show that he has propensity to be a jerk this way. And by the way, if you're in the comments for the algoritmers, please help us. Give us some AWGEs. I don't even know, I think the only one I got is always won't give evidence. All right, snitches get stitches. I don't know, but give us what you think AWGE means. But basically, that's what the prosecution is saying. It might mean something that shows us that they have a violent propensity. ASAP Rocky's team is saying, no, it's our business formula. It's like asking Coke to give the formula, right, for the Coca-Cola. This is our thing. Those 4 words change the world, and we want to keep that as a secret. And if that's the case, they have every right to keep it a secret. It would help, I think, probably if the judge knew, and he could rule whether it was relevant or not. But they won't tell him either.
I don't know. That seems kind of weird to me. So let me ask you something. It would appear to me in the court of public opinion that emotional reaction and how he was so adamant and just blurted it out, it sounds like that could be witness tampering in a legal proceeding. What do you think, Attorney Weiss?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Him telling him to hush, and that could have been taken as a threat. Because all of a sudden after that, he's like starting to backpedal,
right?
So I think it stands for a way of getting everything, a white guy experience, a way of general excellence, like a whole gang of elites. There are so many things that I think that it's standing for, and I think it was just a way of him reacting and telling the man on the stand, hey. You remember, where your bread is buttered. Remember who got you fame. Remember who's married to Rihanna.
Well, the defense, is it not the defense? Yeah, the defense attorney, right? His defense attorney argues that the emotional response made him humanized to the jury. I don't buy that. I think it made him look like that somewhere in that acronym, the G may stand for guns.
Yep.
And he knows that there's no friend of his that can go on the witness stand and say anything relating to something gun related. What are your thoughts, Attorney Turner?
I think it's complicated. If the website itself didn't say that the first rule of it was that you don't tell anybody, I think that some of these other theories might get more traction. But the fact that it's memorialized that we don't tell anybody what it stands for, that's why I brought up the Fight Club reference. I think that at least gives his attorneys a plausible explanation for why he might be so emotional. But you are right. The level of emotion in the courtroom in front of a witness that was called for the other side, that does look like witness tampering. And so they're going to have to do a lot to backpedal from this and to put it into context. And at some point, ASAP Rocky, is going to have to make a decision. Does he value his liberty or his privacy more? And he's going to have to talk about that with Rihanna, because I can tell you, I'm sure when she had those babies with him, she was not trying to raise them by herself. And so that may be a question that he's going to have to come to terms with.
Okay, so let's go to the algorithms real quick. Algorithms, everybody that's watching, do you think that ASAP Rocky's emotional reaction in court could influence a guilty or innocent perception of him? So I know for me, when I heard it, I felt he's trying to hide something. So for me, it's guilty. Whatever it is, whatever this dude is hiding, is something that could possibly hurt him in his case. So I'm going to say guilty.
Or his case, or maybe his marriage. What if AWGE stands for Always White Girls Everywhere? All right. Riri not going for that.
Order, Carter. No, you know what? Your mind be going.
I know, but here's the thing. I thought about this the other day. He in trouble, and let me tell you why. The marriage is in trouble regardless. All right. I don't know about you, but I think Jason, brother, Attorney Weiss would agree with me. If I come home with glitter on my shirt, we're gonna have to go to counseling. All right. Now imagine if I came home with gunpowder. My wife ain't going for that. All right, we're gonna have to get divorced. So he got some issues because he ain't. I tell you what, at the very least, he's never going out for boys' night ever again. He's gonna be in that house by 8 o'clock. When the street lights come on, ASAP Rocky gonna be in the house. He can't be trusted out there.
Yeah.
Do you think this will affect their relationship? Like what's what you call him said, Toya Crowder said they're not married, not yet. Do you think this affect their relationship?
Oh yeah. I mean, look, this guy, Attorney Turner.
No, I was going to say absolutely. Like I said, one, she doesn't want to raise those children by herself. Two, she is seething that she's in this position doing this ghetto mess in the courtroom after she's made all this money. And three, to Attorney Carter's point, this is some dumb-ish, right? He's brandishing a gun, whether it was a prop or not, because he was mad at somebody, compromising everything they've been working on. She may be standing by his side right now, but we'll see. There might be ice cracking, and they might not withstand this.
Oh, that sounds really speculative. I love it. All right, algorithms, we're going to try something different, and we're going to render our verdict right now. Is ASAP Rocky guilty or not guilty for jeopardizing his trial case with this outburst? All right, Attorney Carter, what say you?
I'm going to say ultimately not guilty. It didn't help. I agree with you 100%, Your Honor. It did not help. But on the other hand, all it matters is if one person sees him as being cute as Attorney Turner does, he's got at least a hung jury.
All right, Attorney Weiss?
I think it makes him look guilty, but I still think he's going to find that one or two to, bat their eyes at. And he's going home with Rihanna, at least temporarily.
All right, Attorney Turner?
Yeah, I like the way Attorney Carter positioned it. I mean, thinking about ASAP, how's it hanging? But seriously,
what in the world?
I do think that you're right, because you phrased it as, did he jeopardize his defense? Absolutely, he jeopardized it. How much so? I don't know.
All right, I'm the judge here, and I'm going to find ASAP Rocky in the court of public opinion guilty of jeopardizing his case with these outbursts. He's got to stop. What say you, algorithms? Drop down in the chat. Is he guilty or not guilty? Put it in the chat. Is he guilty or not guilty for jeopardizing his trial? All right, next up, data is the new currency and privacy is the cost. In a groundbreaking case, New York Attorney General Letitia James has taken on the Trump administration, alleging they allowed Elon Musk's company to collect sensitive personal data without proper oversight. Are we watching the defense of our constitutional rights? Or is this just political theater? In an era where our phones listen more than our friends do, how much privacy do we really have left? And who do we hold accountable when our data is the product that's being sold? All right, I'm going to throw it to you, Attorney Weiss. Does this ruling, right? Set a new precedent for data privacy under the Fourth Amendment.
I think we got some material, so let's check that out first.
In the past week, Elon Musk and his so-called Department of Government Efficiency have accessed the personal private information of tens of millions of Americans and sensitive data about public and private entities, social security numbers, addresses, tax returns, and more. This unelected group, led by the world's richest man, is not authorized to have this information.
And that's where
they explicitly sought this unauthorized access to illegally block payments that millions of Americans rely on. Payments for health care, child care, and other essential programs. Today, Democratic attorneys general are taking action to keep Americans' personal data secure, to keep sensitive information about Americans private, and to uphold our Constitution. We have filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration for giving unauthorized individuals access to these immensely sensitive records in violation of the law. President Trump does not have the power to give our private information away to whomever he wants. And he does not have the power to cut federal spending that Congress approved, much less to do so by giving the richest man in the world the keys to all Americans' most sensitive information.
So in the game of Monopoly, Elon Musk was allowed to just pass go 10,000 times in a row and collect $200 every time he goes. What do I mean by that? The federal government has all of our information, right? Social security numbers, tax information, all this and all that. Elon Musk was the curtain was raised, and voila, take it all, throw it on X, do whatever you want, go ahead and buy TikTok and all these other companies with your friends. And guess what? Elon now has access to everything. So Al, your honor, your social security number is now in Elon's hands. Attorney Carter, your date of birth is in Elon's hands. Me, all my information, Elon's hands.
What happened to the Fourth Amendment?
Well,
what happened to the Constitution?
They don't care because it's Trump's rule and Trump's decision. And this is Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, not a government branch, not anything. It's Elon Musk's. This is his. And I am.
You're not telling me how legally he's able to do this. I need to know, how is he legally able to just run through the Fourth Amendment like it doesn't exist, give someone who's not even from this country such power and access? And remember, he's given him access not just through this role of Department of Efficiency, he's also given him access by holding up the TikTok deal. Because I promise you, Elon Musk is somewhere a part of that deal.
Oh, and he's going to be the one who comes out with that TikTok deal behind, and he's going to own it. But remember, so Trump is allowing Elon to do this, right? He just acts and asks permission and asks the rules later, right? He comes in, oh, this is my game. We're playing by my rules. This is what I want to do. Hey, Trump, we're playing Monopoly. You don't get to spin the wheel in the game of life game, or you don't get to draw 4 and pick again. So Trump is playing his own game and doing what he wants, and he's allowing those that supported him to benefit from it. He is taking care of those who stood by his side and took care of him and worked with him.
Attorney Carter, let me tell you what this smells like to me. This smells like that this is not just an attack on Trump and his illegal ability to do something like this. This is America, starting with the state of New York's way of trying to check Elon Musk. All right. And follow me on this. I think that this lawsuit, right? This lawsuit, the fact that it's allowed to be done, will usher in other lawsuits against tech giants like Twitter, like Neuralink, like TikTok. Am I wrong to think of it like that? And what they're basically doing is saying, hey, guys, we're peeping what you're doing. What you're doing is illegal. And if you go down this path, we're going to fight you tooth and nail in every way possible through lawsuits.
Well, no, and that's bigger than even Twitter. This, by the way, didn't start happening. Remember when Trump a few weeks ago said, hey, I'm going to stop all payments, and they went to court and stopped him in a week? It's the same thing. And here's the thing that's important for us to remember. And this is, by the way, the shining light for us is that there's something called the Administrative Procedures Act. And what that says, and this is why it wasn't a Fourth Amendment, by the way, Trump's Doge thing got overturned by the court. The court said, hey, get Elon out of there. Right. And the reason is not the Fourth Amendment, but something called the Administrative Procedures Act. And what it says is if you're the government and the president, you just can't act willy-nilly. Just do what you want to do, whatever. And you have to, in the legal standard is you can't act arbitrarily and capriciously. What that means normally is that if a federal agency wants to change how it does business, it needs to have either an act of Congress or at the very least, it needs to go through a process. And you've all seen this where they call for public opinion. It takes 6 weeks and all the experts write in. Trump's been like, no, we're not going to do that. And they're like, no, you have to do that. And so they said, hey, until you do that, don't mess with us. All right. Now, if Congress agrees that Elon can come in there, we can't stop that. But until you, and the way I want to explain this so that's not technically understandable is think of it. And I think we have a lot of Black people listening, so this would be helpful. You had the cookout. All right. Uncle Ray, he always want to work the grill. He going to work the grill. All right. The Administrative Procedures Act says, fine, you can work the grill, Uncle Ray, but guess what? You can't change Granny's recipe.
The menu.
Thank you.
And you can't change the heat of the fire, and you can't change the briquettes, and you can't change the charcoal, and you can't change nothing. You can stand there and flip the chicken and the burgers and the ribs and the hot dogs, but you can't do anything more.
And what you're not going to do is put tofu, all right? You can put an Impossible Burger on here. We don't do that. You're not going to put no raisins in potato salad, all right? You're not going to change the recipe.
Why did it take Letitia James announcing this lawsuit before anyone said, hey, you can't do that?
Well, because who's else to say? Congress should say so, but they're a bunch of, acolytes. And so the only other person in the court itself, the Supreme Court or the court system isn't going to raise cases for you. So it needs someone, and the state attorney general, I like it's not just her, it's 18, right? So it's California, Illinois, etc. And so they're going to get this over and over. This is going to happen every week.
Actually, 19 now.
Right. Wow. Right. And hopefully what will happen is eventually Trump will learn, damn, I'm not in charge here. The real question and the concern is, what if Trump were to say, hey, court, who cares what you think? I'm not going to shut the door. Come take me. That might, he might get that frustrated. No president has so far, but for the most part, what's going to happen time and time again is he's going to trump some crazy thing, and the court is going to shut it down immediately. And it did it a lot the first term.
What happens, Attorney Turner, when the court can't act fast enough and he does something real quick and slides it by? And that's the fear.
Right. Well, and that's part of the fear here too. I mean, think about it. Before the court acted, before Sister James filed a lawsuit, they had the information for 5, 6, 7 days. Yeah. So whatever they were doing,
I'm with Danielle Cameron on this one. She says, I mean, when Obama was in office, he couldn't even do his job with all kinds of interference. Yet the Orange Man is acting though he discovered America.
Well, the Orange Man's doing what he wants. He's not asking questions. He's not asking permission. And remember, he's got the Supreme Court stacked, right? Right. He's got what, five of them on his side on any given day, no matter what. Think about it.
Am I the only one?
The problem is it takes a while to get there because you got to do the lower courts and they're all going to apply the law.
Right.
And they weren't all, especially like if you file this in Southern District of New York, those people weren't appointed by Trump. And so
all the damage has been done.
That's true. A lot of damage has been done. Not all of it.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I listened to this thing over the weekend. And I'm probably going to share it on here, where a guy was telling us that this is all theatrics. This is all, I think they called it muzzle forgot what the name of it was. Jeez. But anyway, basically they were saying, like we uncovered here, that he's creating all this commotion, right? He's creating all this commotion so that it's a scare tactic for people to understand, distract from what's really going on. And he's like creating all these lawsuits that he knows that he has no leverage in. However, it sends a message to people that he does and that he is running the country and he's changing the Constitution. What were you saying, Jason?
I was going to say, he's kind of like, hey, look at everybody. Focus over here, focus over here, focus over here. And you have no clue what's going on over here.
Right. But am I the only one that gets stressed out by this? This is like the strangest thing to me. Like, I have a completely new like perception of the power of the president, but it's the political system.
It's not the power of the president. He's one man acting the way he wants to act, and all of these AGs and everybody else, they are thankfully standing up to some of the stuff that he is trying to do.
All right, again, let's go to the algorithms. Algorithms, do you trust tech companies to handle your private data responsibly, or should the government impose stricter regulations? So let me ask, algorithms, do you trust tech companies to handle your private data responsibly, or should the government impose stricter regulations? Isn't he the government? He's taking the regulations out.
But that's the problem, right? He went ahead and he said the government has all this information, and I am going to let a non-government person have all of this. So the government,
the richest man in the world. The richest man in the world. Let's just be very clear. He's letting the richest man in the world. All right,
not for long. Not for long. Bernie Carter's going to take him on that.
All right, and one more thing about that. I'm not worried about Elon Musk using my Social Security number to get a Visa card. All right, I want him to take my Social Security number if he can, because he's going to do better with it than I have. All right, so I'm not mad about that. I am mad about the lawlessness, and fortunately, Letitia James and others are doing what they can. And the real question, I think, as Attorney White said, is what are we not seeing? Right, all the stuff we're focusing on, what are we not focusing on that he's getting away with?
But you're concerned about him seeing your browsing history. We know that.
Please, y'all know what's on my browsing history.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Exactly.
No, listen, that's not what I'm concerned. What I'm concerned is that he's able to manipulate middle America, because using these platforms, using these tech platforms, using Twitter, using Facebook, using TikTok, he's able to create narratives that support his dictatorship, and that he's using it also to brainwash people like they do in cult environments to just follow and support any and everything he does without question. That's what I'm afraid of, having access to people's private data. It's not social security numbers, it's passwords. It's your digital footprint of what your interests are. Once people are able to garner that type of data, then they're able to code switch you into believing and thinking things that are not true. And that's detrimental to the constitutional fabric of America. But I don't want to get deep. Let's keep it moving. All right, everybody. Talking about
Kanye's going to be appointed. Watch.
Here we go. Talking about democracy. Democracy is on trial once again. And guess what? The courtroom is Washington, D.C. Republican lawmakers are pushing to strip the District of Columbia of its self-governing powers, claiming corruption and inefficiency. In my mind, I think it's claiming DEI. They don't like the fact that it's a black mayor there, and more mayors there are black than any other city. But is this a fight for better governance or a political power grab disguised as reform? Imagine living in the nation's capital, yet having less control over your laws than the rest of the country. Is this about democracy, or is this about control? All right, let's go to you, Attorney Sean Carter. Is it constitutional for Congress to override DC's local government authority? That's what I want to know.
Sadly, yes. It's not even close on a constitutional message. So what happens is DC, I think it was in the 70s, only got the right in the 70s to even have control over anything. And they've said, hey, here's your 13 people, your state, your aldermen, whatever, who will handle this. But we reserve the right. By the way, even now in DC, the Congress has the right to override anything the DC City Council says by law. And in the law, it says we also can take all this stuff back if we want to. All right. Sadly, they have never given DC full autonomy, full freedom. They always had an ability to claw it back.
So he actually can actually just kick everybody in the political system, the mayor and all those people out of the office.
Well, you mean the Senate? I mean, the Congress can, right? The president really has nothing to do with this one. He can tell them what to do, but they have to do it themselves.
I mean, clearly he's leading the charge. For me, I was here during his first term when she painted Black Lives Matters on 16th Street and named his address Black Lives Matters Lane. Do y'all remember that?
Uh-huh.
She renamed the address of the White House to Black Lives Matter Lane. I knew then that he was going to eventually get back at her because that's the type of man that he is. So what you're telling me is that in essence, his get back is legal.
As I can see, I can't think of a loophole out of it. They have absolute congressional authority. I said in the Constitution, by the way, it says that the Congress runs DC. They pass a law that says we'll let DC have a little bit of power, but the Constitution itself says that the Congress is supposed to run DC.
Yeah, but John, what happened to the Home Rule Act?
I mean, have we learned nothing from what's been happening lately?
You don't follow any acts, huh?
Yeah, everything is up to his interpretation. I mean, here's what I think. DC and Puerto Rico both assert the arguments about how they don't have the ability to fully govern themselves based on their status. And depending on which side you're looking at or what vantage point, sometimes that argument is to their benefit and sometimes it isn't. And so as Attorney Carter indicated, unlike the states where there are clear enumerated powers from a federalism perspective, DC is not a state. It's not just a moniker, the District of Columbia. It's because it is different. It is not Maryland. It is not Virginia. It is not Delaware. It is this special thing, and it was established for neutrality so that it didn't belong to anybody, and it was supposed to be to the benefit of all of the states as well as to DC. But as we know, sometimes that results in them not getting the funding for things that they want, and sometimes it results in them complaining that they feel like they're, pre-revolutionary times and that no taxation without representation, and those kinds of arguments come out of the district. And so, this one, it's interesting. It cuts both ways. As you indicated, there was that Black Lives Matter way, and that was her taking a shot. But as Attorney Carter has indicated, the federal government has the ultimate clapback on anything DC wants to do. And
so let me ask this, algoriters. Should Washington, D.C. then have full autonomy like a state? Algoriters, what you think? Should Washington, D.C. have full autonomy like a state, or should Congress continue to maintain control? Drop down in the chat. All right, everybody, the likes aren't liking. Please hit that like button. Also, please hit the share button. Hit the subscribe button. If you already subscribed, please hit the share button and invite friends over to learn a little bit about the law while we use celebrity and politics and athletes as a backdrop to teach you how to stay out of the courtroom. All right, please turn on your notifications because this Thursday, yep, you heard me correctly, this Thursday, we will have the special about all things Diddy and how and what his defense attorney should be working on to make sure Diddy gets out of prison, or what the prosecutors are thinking about to keep him in there. All right. Also, continue to jump down in the comments because we love to hear from you. Next up, talking about drama, baby, do I have drama for you? All right.
Baby drama.
Baby mama drama. We got paternity drama, celebrity relationships, and tragedy. They all are colliding at once. Chrisean Rock, the reality star and artist known for her tumultuous relationship with rapper Blueface, is back in the headlines. But this time, it's not just about viral moments. Now, hang in there. Remember, we covered this story about her ex-boyfriend, Ronnie Doe. Well, guess what? He was shot and killed in Baltimore just days before Chrisean publicly revealed a paternity test confirming that Blueface is the biological father of her children. The timing of Ronnie's death and the release of the test results have the internet buzzing with conspiracy theories. Now, to make matters worse, Blueface's mother, Clarissa, has filed a restraining order against Chrisean, claiming she made threats to her. So this isn't just a celebrity drama, it's a legal storm brewing with potential consequences. Let's take a look.
They keep talking about my son, bro. That's all I got to say. You talking about you seen him, and you said, oh, you see the illness or whatever, whatever you was trying to say. You saw him and you couldn't believe that you seen whatever they talking about.
Need a helmet, whether they got nappy hair, whether they short, funny looking. I love all my grandkids, but I ain't gonna lie. My first initial thought when I saw him in that restaurant, it crushed me. And for her to say she wanted to stomp me out, girl, I can't even tell you what my mind wanted to do to you once I looked in his face and I didn't know if he was looking at me, you, or the air. I was hurt, genuinely hurt.
Oh, it's true. You wasn't that close. You didn't even get to hold him, bro. Don't play with him like that, bro. And it's funny. This is a PSA for everybody that think that they can just clown my kid for clout. Let's see what y'all year gonna look like.
Chrisean, sweetheart, I was not clowning your child, my grandchild. It's time to just say what it is so that you can stop being embarrassed and harboring that guilt. I literally spoke what I saw because I was in shock. I was not trying to say anything bad about your son for clout. That's you. You use my son for clout. I'm not using your son for clout. So that's your guilt. That's your own personal guilt. And anything that you have thought of for my year to go any other way than what Jesus Christ has designed it to go for, I bind and rebuke it in the name of Jesus. Because I am a child of God. So whatever you over there plotting and scheming for our year to be whatever you thought it was going to be, it's continually your years, not ours. We love you. God bless you.
All right, Sonny Clark says it's true that baby has fentanyl alcohol syndrome or something. Attorney Turner, let's go to you real quick because this is my question, all right? The restraining order. What grounds is Carlissa using in order to get this restraining order?
From Chrisean?
Yeah.
Well, the harassing nature of someone's behavior is usually why people seek the restraining order.
But is she harassing her? She's not really harassing her. She's basically stating what she observed when she was around her grandson.
No, it's the other way around. Chrisean is the one who was the grandmother's trying to get the restraining order against Chrisean because she said that when they were at the event, Chrisean said, "I'm gonna stomp you out." So the grandmother's trying to get the restraining order against the daughter.
From the threat.
The threat when they were at this, we didn't see the threat online, but they supposedly happened in real life.
So what are the legal standards that you have to meet in order to get a restraining order then? And it seems like anybody can get one these days.
It's not hard. Basically, you have to make a threat that's credible and that you could legitimately believe could happen. So, for instance, if I were going to, if a 4-year-old says I'm gonna kill you, you probably can't get a restraining order, right? Nobody thinks 4-year-old can do it, okay? But in this case, Chrisean, does look like she might be about that life to stop somebody. It could be the easiest thing to get a restraining order. Now that doesn't really help the grandmother. The grandmother's trying to intercede here and say, hey, there's something wrong with the baby. And if you got a restraining order, it means you're not gonna be around Chrisean, so you're not gonna be around the baby either. So that's probably not her best strategy to try to help. And here's the thing is, I totally get this. Remember, I have 2 special needs kids myself. Right. So when you have a kid and someone says to you, and the grandmama says, hey, I think something wrong with the baby. When it's your first baby, you don't want to hear that. All right. You're like, what's wrong with you, grandma? Right. Why you baby hating? Right. And it's like, no, grandma is actually concerned, and grandma's seen more kids than you have. Grandma usually knows something that you don't know. Right. And so from what I can see here, the grandmother seems totally sincere. She's not trying to she's saying something. Let's get the baby some help. And fortunately for us, we were able to get our kids some intervention early because you can't wait till the 18 to the 7 right until they're 16. If you can get in earlier, the better. So I'm team grandma.
So let me ask you this:
I don't know about team grandma. I think team grandma is attempting to appear to be reasonable in order to throw shade. That's what I think. I mean, I agree with you, Attorney Carter, that she might have a point that the baby is demonstrating some characteristics suggestive that it needs help, and I think she don't like Chrisean.
Oh yeah,
also during the pregnancy, we saw all over social media she was smoking and drinking.
And then that's part of that. Yeah, she threw a little shade there. Like, I don't know what you were doing then, right? And so, yeah, I agree with you 100%. Two things can be true. So I agree with you 100%, Attorney Turner. She don't like her either.
Yeah. we need to get when.
I'm going to take, grandma's approach into my own life because I got some people I want to bind and rebuke. Those are some very powerful words she had.
Attorney Turner.
I'm just saying, Your Honor. Hey, y'all people out there, you know who I'm talking about. I bind and rebuke you.
Both. You got to bind and rebuke.
You know what? Today must be the day that her alimony payments get taken out of her account.
I think we got to get the guardian ad litem who's overseeing Wendy Williams involved in this one.
Oh, no. Right? All right, Danielle Cameron says, how do we, the public, get restraining orders against the assault on my brain with these ratchet shenanigans? Grandma needs to communicate that privately from a mom of an autistic child. I think she could do. I agree. I think there's a little performative actions here, and she's masking it in empathy and I care, but at the same time she's throwing shade on her. Like, girl, you are not a good mother. And the consequences of you not being a good mother is this child ended up being autistic, and she's trying to do it as
well, let me ask you this: who went public first? Because it seemed like they had this dispute, and in real life, and then it looks like Chrisean went online and said, "My grandmother, my baby daddy mama ain't nothing." And then baby daddy mama, who obviously knows her words, said, no, you ain't going to do that to me online. I admit my mother, I don't think would do that. I think she would just curse you out behind the back. All right. But my mother's not that eloquent. So she might not want to get on it. She don't have a social media account at all, which is why I can say crazy stuff like this.
And now they all have GoFundMe pages,
Black Celine says, all right. Black Celine says Carlissa is trash.
I like her style, though. I mean, I have to say, my kids are young enough, so I don't have any significant others to say this for my children. But the pathway you take is this, right? You deliver. I lived in the South for a long time. You deliver it with a smile. She thinks Chrisean is trashy. She thinks she's responsible for the situation for this child. Right. But she wants to be the one in social media who presents as she's reasonable, because I think she might be trying to build a case to take custody of this baby away from Chrisean so that she can do it. So yeah, these will all be Exhibit A, and Chrisean will be there talking.
Right. I was thinking that too, Attorney Turner. And not only that, this recent death of her ex-boyfriend, if they ever link any type of wrongdoing and attach that to her, that's definitely going to jeopardize, right? That's going to jeopardize her ability to be that child's mother. And what's so interesting is how she announced the paternity test, which made it Blueface's baby. So now it's an affirmative. So now it's not a question mark. So now if that family wants to make an argument to get that child, they could possibly have enough evidence to do it.
Yeah, social media. That she's that baby's mother. She looked like there was no father at all. She just made him out of clay in her own image. That baby was just like
You know what? All right, everybody. Let's go to the algorithms real quickly. Do you believe the legal system should intervene in family conflicts, or should they be handled privately? Let me ask you again, algoriters, our jury, do you believe the legal system should intervene in family conflicts, or should they be handled privately? I'm sure the public family courts stay backed up. All right, let's go into something that I think should be private, but not anymore. Legislation is rarely funny, but Ohio lawmakers introduced the Contraception Begins at Erection Act. All right, you heard me right. Contraception Begins at Erection Act to make a point. It's satire, sure, but it highlights the double standards in reproductive rights debate. This bold activism disguised as comedy, or is it trivializing a really serious issue? When lawmakers start writing jokes into legal documents, are we sparking meaningful dialogue, or are we playing with politics? All right. So let's go to you, Attorney Sean Carter. It sounds so appropriate for you to be talking about this Contraception Begins at Erection Act. Can satire, this is my question, and this is a serious question. Can satire in legislation actually influence real policy changes?
No, this doesn't get passed. And this is the thing that I think that as and I'm a Democrat, I shouldn't probably say, I'm gonna say it. It's probably illegal. I might deny it later. But for now, and the problem with us as Democrats is we think, oh, this is a sick burn against the Republicans. It's not at all effective legally. It makes no policy change, but we showed them, and it's like, no, this is, let me do that. That's not my job to be silly. All right. Your job is to go pass meaningful policy and legislation, which this isn't due. You don't even want this to happen. Right? Who wants the fact that a man, if he were to spill his seed, goes to jail? Because at least 2 people on this panel are going to jail often. I'm not going to say which 2, but I think we probably can guess. And the point is,
me up already.
Exactly. Thank you. And it's just ridiculous, right? And it's like you're not even trying to, you're trying to sort of show how ridiculous Republicans are, but that doesn't help the women who actually need help. Right now, right? And, in Ohio, you should have a bill that you sponsored that provides these services for women, or the ability to go elsewhere to get these services. You should be doing something more than just being me.
So let me ask you this: do you think this is Shaitan? You're our resident female here. Do you think this is trivializing serious reproductive right issues?
I'm going to trivialize it for a second, because with all those pictures of condoms, I just thought it was an advertisement for a good Valentine's Day.
What in the world?
Hey, if you're using all those condoms, that's a very good Valentine's Day.
Counselor. Let me tell you something. You don't want to go through all those boxes, do you, on Valentine's Day?
Yeah, January 15th is going to be rough if you do.
But I think that where we are is, and we're a hyperbolic nation, right? We have all of this flurry of action from the federal government. We have, Supreme Court cases that have overturned precedent from the 1970s as it relates to reproductive rights. We have, other actions that have changed things that have been established precedent since the 60s. We have all of the commentary locally in different jurisdictions that are taking action to try to restrict rights, and then others are trying to expand rights. This is the Federation of America, where we are divided and everybody has a different point of view on what should be protected. And so as it relates to these kinds of laws that are on the fringes and seem somewhat hyperbolic, I think that they're designed to get people's attention, and they're designed to say, hey, if you think this can't go that far, I'll take it farther.
Exactly. That's why for me, it seems weird. We're joking about it, but think about it. Who would have ever thought that America, the Constitution, would take control and tell women what they can and cannot do with their bodies? Who would have ever thought that would have been able to be passed?
people in 1965 and 1955 and before.
I know, but we're in 2025.
They took it as the law of the land. What we didn't contemplate was that it was going to go back. And
That's
so
That's,
here we are.
That's it.
I don't understand it.
We made the change. How did we slide back? And that's the problem. And maybe the Democrats are saying, hey, let's poke fun at it. Maybe that'll work because everything else we've tried hasn't.
Am I the only one that feels like that this is a slide back across the board on everything that is not white male privilege oriented? And that's scary to me. That's scary to me. You're taking critical race theory out of the classroom. You're taking anything as it relates to diversity, equity, and inclusion out of every conversation. Like you're completely hijacking all of it, and you're putting us back in the 50s and the 60s. All right, really quickly, I want to give a shout out to Danielle Cameron. Thank you for the super chat. Love you, love you, love you. Woo, 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 woo. She said, I agree. If the government wants to worry about our uterus, worry about my uterus, then let's address the mass unaliving of future children men. Ooh. Just another YouTube channel said, LOL, Al trying to figure out if Shaitan was at some freak offs. Yeah, I know, right? All you need to know, said Child. SL said bathroom monitors for trans folks. And then Sonny Clark said, why is pregnancy always a woman's issue? If a man can take PrEP, then he can take birth control. Ooh. Yeah. That's interesting. That was an interesting. After scenes, don't worry, Al Reynolds. We won't tell nobody if you spill your seed. And Let It Go says, y'all didn't get out and vote. People believe the lies. I don't know. I'm so confused at how all of that unfolded. All right, let's keep it going because we're almost there. Last story of the evening, Kanye West. That's right. You heard me correct. Kanye West's social media presence has always been controversial, but his latest ban from X, after another antisemitic rant, raises a critical question. Where does free speech end and hate speech begin? Is Kanye a provocateur exercising his First Amendment rights, or is he crossing the line that platforms have every right to enforce? In an era where everyone has a platform, who gets to decide when the mic gets cut? Now, this is what I want to know, and I'm going to go to you, Jason, because you're our resident white lawyer.
Wait, I'm white?
You're our resident white attorney here.
I'm the resident Jew.
You're the resident Jew.
Thank you.
Okay, even better considering the topic, right? Yep. I meant to say resident Jew. My apologies.
There you go.
Okay, now let me ask you this. All right, let me understand this correctly. All right, because I just want everybody to understand what we're watching. We watched during inauguration the guy who owns Twitter do a Hitler anti-Semitic gesture.
Yep.
Not canceled, not debated, not argued by anybody. However, when a black male influencer of Kanye's level does something he doesn't like, he takes away his First Amendment rights. What's the difference, and why is there a double standard here?
Is there a video for this?
I think we do have one.
Guys, I spent like all the money for the commercial on these new teeth. So once again, I had to shoot it on the iPhone. Go to easy.com.
Is that what is that? I didn't get it.
That I had no clue.
Is that the statement, or what exactly was that, Bailiff?
I think it was a shot of him saying, "Hey, they won't, let me do anything," and they took me off of X, formerly known as Twitter, for saying things like "I love Hitler," and I could say Jewish.
I don't know why. Okay, no, he's saying that this is a Super Bowl commercial. I don't know why we're talking.
Did that air yesterday?
I didn't see
it, and I watched all the commercials.
Okay, good.
Maybe it
Was that a commercial from yesterday? I didn't see that commercial. I watched the game. I didn't see that.
Oh,
okay.
The shirt.
Anyway, let's go to the t-shirts and let's see the shirt. Let's see the shirt that is getting him in trouble. All right, I'm assuming this is the shirt that he produced.
Yep.
Also, can you show me the shirt also that he produced around Cassie being attacked by Diddy?
But that shirt offends all four of us.
Right. Absolutely. So did his gesture at the inauguration.
100% Elon Musk's gesture at the inauguration should not
so
be.
Why is he allowed to ban Kanye?
He owns the network. I mean, when you own things, you can do what you want.
Exactly.
Like someone comes to your house and they curse, you can kick them out for it. And then once they leave, you're like, F them. They shouldn't have been here anyway.
When you sign up for Twitter or X or any of these social media platforms, there are terms and conditions that we all just scroll down to the bottom, click the box, and then we get our stuff up there. And it basically says, in the old days, it was no shirt, no shoes, no service. You can deny service to anybody that you want. Well, Elon's saying the same thing. He doesn't want that up there. Why? Because if somebody is going to be the high up and all of that, it's going to be Elon. And
got it. If someone's going to be the true, got it.
You got it. And that's what he wants. So look, he's saying all of his stuff. He even said, Elon stole my Nazi swag at the inauguration. My guy, go get your own Third Reich. Right? So that's the kind of stuff that he's saying.
Yeah, all of that's just unsettling to me. All right, so let's go back to you, Jason. Last question then, as it relates to the legality of this. Could Kanye face legal consequences beyond social media bans for repeated hate speech?
I mean, look, he can say what he wants. The problem is that the media is picking it up and putting it out there. It's disgusting. He should be banned. He shouldn't be allowed to say this. And I think if he starts telling people to go out and incites things like go out and do this and do that, I'm not even going to say these types of words. Right. But if he goes out and incites violence, bad things, and all of that, yeah, he's going to have a problem.
That's bullshit. The president incited a whole riot.
He took office and he got wiped clean. So Kanye is probably going to go ahead and want to get appointed to some doge or whatever, and then he'll get absolved of all of his sins. And then the collection of Yeezys that I have that are worth nothing, I can sell them again.
All right, Daniel Cameron, thank you again for the super chat. Really appreciate it. And then let's see. Purposely Delicious says Yee was saying go to his website since X banned him. Yep, smart guy. All right, everybody. Let's ask the algorithms this question. Algorithms, do you believe social media platforms have a responsibility to censor hate speech, even if it conflicts with free speech values? That's a good one. That's a good one.
Here's one nerdy, law professor thing to point out, and I think I'm stealing Attorney Carter's thunder because he mentioned it on a previous show when we were talking about free speech. This is a private forum. This is not the government restricting a citizen. And so when people start talking about free speech rights, you got to remember that it's the government that restricts the free speech rights. The private entities actually do not from a legal perspective. And so the question for X and other platforms that decide to restrict certain people and not others is whether or not they expose themselves to some sort of disparate treatment claims. But in this case, this is not a governmental action taken against.
Got it. Easy. Okay, so let's rotate it out of the government action and let's make it into a legal action. Does him exercising this type of discretion to decide when and when not to exclude someone from Twitter, could that be a legal action? Can a legal action be taken for that?
I mean, really, probably not.
And here's why it's different. Because as a private individual, you can discriminate against who you want to, right? If you only times it applies if you, for instance, if you had a restaurant, all right, then you have to serve everybody. But we haven't applied that to social media platforms yet. And so you could have a social media platform that says, hey, Black Planet only. And by the way, only Black people can be up in here. All right, and so those protections don't apply in a social media platform, at least not yet. Now there is some thought that it might change, and the real question is going to be for the apps: will they be responsible for the content that they push out? As you know, you go to any app like YouTube or whatever, you choose what you want to go to first, but then it starts to tell you what to go to after that. And so there's some concern that if X starts pushing you a bunch of anti-Semitic content, then maybe X can be held accountable for that, not because you went to it, not because it was on there, but because they kept pushing it to you. And we've had a couple of cases in other countries where people have been sued. The platforms have been sued because violent things happen. And people said, hey, you kept pushing that out to people as opposed to them going to get it themselves. But sadly, for the most part, these entities aren't required to take down anything. So he didn't have to take down Kanye stuff if he didn't want to. I think he chose, and maybe the explanation was right. He wanted to be the chief racist around here, the chief anti-Semite.
Right. And plus, Kanye called him out. Kanye called him out.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't want. He feels like he's the ultimate power. You can't tell him what to do. I know how to shut you down. You're not going to use my platform to talk about me to promote yourself.
Absolutely. Right? Did you see this comment here from Afro Sings? Attorney Weiss was on Black Planet. I suspect it's true.
All right, everybody, really quickly, let's go. We're not going to go through all the cases, but we're going to start with the last three. First up, Blueface. No, first up is DC self-governance under attack. All right, is the Congress guilty or not guilty of overstepping its boundaries? Attorney Turner, what say you?
Not guilty.
Attorney Carter?
Not guilty.
Attorney Weiss?
Not guilty, but not doing the right thing.
All right, I'm Al Reynolds, and I'm the judge here in the Court of Public Opinion, Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. And Congress, don't mess with my black city, D.C. You're overstepping your abilities, and I don't like it. We want D.C. to be governed by the black female mayor. Guilty. Guilty is charged. All right, next up, Blueface. Mother, is she guilty or not guilty in believing that Chrisean is a threat and she deserves to be protected? Is she guilty or not guilty? Attorney Turner?
She's guilty of trying to fabricate a threat charge against that sweet little girl. She ain't scared. Mama got her own protection. Trust.
All right, Attorney Carter.
She is not guilty. All right. I'm scared of Chrisean from here, and I live 3,000 miles away. I ain't mad at you, Chrisean. Don't do nothing to me.
Attorney Weiss?
I think we are all guilty of letting this get out there and letting people chime in. And by the way, I'm in Arizona at Attorney Carter's house. If anybody needs to chime in.
All right, I'm Alan. I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court of Public Opinion, and we're going to find Chrisean guilty. Guilty is charged. Let me tell you why. Chrisean's got to watch how she moves now, especially now that she has confirmed who the real daddy is. So now that family could really make her life really bad if they wanted to, considering all the things that are going on around that child and Chrisean. So I'm going to find her guilty. She needs to be a little bit more careful. All right, next up, contraception begins at Erection Act. All right, is this bill an effective protest, or does it undermine the seriousness of reproductive acts? Is Congress guilty or not guilty in Ohio for making fun of reproductive rights? Attorney Turner?
Not guilty of making fun of reproductive rights, but guilty as charged as trying to amplify the inequities in reproductive rights.
Attorney Carter?
They're guilty of, that's my job to come up with crazy stuff. Now I got to go get a real job because they out there doing the silly stuff I do. Damn you, Ohio.
All right, Attorney Weiss?
I think every high school boy is now guilty and gonna get a jail sentence.
Oh.
I think the intention of it was to be funny and draw attention to it, but Leave the humor to Attorney Carter.
There you go.
All right, I'm Al, and I'm the judge here at Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. And I'm going to say they are guilty. They are guilty of scaring people like me. I don't want to go to jail for having an erect. Man, I mean, if President Trump can become the president again after being convicted of everything you could possibly be convicted of, I'm almost scared that Congress would pass something this stupid and they would have people out here policing our erections. I'm not here for it.
Man, think about it. After your 38 felony convictions, Your Honor, you could run for president in 2028.
Kanye West.
Stand at attention.
Kanye West, guilty or not guilty? Is Kanye bans justified? Does Elon Musk have a right? Is he guilty or not guilty of trying to control Kanye West? Attorney Carter, what say you?
Elon is. I'm not going to say he's not guilty. What I'm going to say is, Kanye, you need to go. All right, get on the meds and just somebody take his phone.
Settle down. All right, Attorney Turner.
Yeah, Attorney Carter got it right. I mean, Kanye is guilty of being Kanye, and he might want to stop.
Okay, Attorney Weiss.
I think they're all guilty of not getting mental health exams and checks and help. And if you're watching Guardian Ad Litem for Wendy Williams, you got 3 on this show here with Elon, Kanye, and the mom and grandma fighting over the kids. So you got 4 right there.
All right, I'm gonna find Elon Musk guilty. Guilty as charged of trying to censor someone for something that he did just a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to find him guilty of that. All right? I don't like it. All right, tonight we explore cases where the courtroom isn't the final battleground. In the court of public opinion, your reputation can be shattered without a single piece of evidence. The truth? Well, the truth is negotiable. The verdict often is decided long before the trial even begins, like in the case with Chrisean Rock. But here's the challenge I leave with you. Are you just a passive consumer of these headlines, or are you an active participant in the way justice is served? The Court of Public Opinion, Celebrity Court of Public Opinion, never adjourns. It lives in your conversations, your social media posts, your biases, and your belief. So before you scroll past the next scandal, before you tweet your next hot take, ask yourself, are you judging the facts, or are you just there to unveil on the fame? The real trial isn't happening in courtrooms across America. It's happening right here in your mind. Join the conversation and cast your verdict, because in this courtroom, your opinion is the verdict that matters most. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us for Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. Court is now adjourned.